Hi, my name is Arash. In this video, I want to talk to you about application logic and different types of them. In real world, line of business application consists of all different and complex logic. There are different types and the way you implement them in your code are different. It is easier to describe this logic as part of an example, so let's consider a simple invoice form like this. In this invoice form, as you can imagine, we can divide it into multiple sections. Let's go through different sections and have a look at them in more details. The first section is the top left corner, which is the customer information section. You may have some logic like invoice must have a valid customer or an invoice must have a valid address. These are more like a validation logic. A validation logic is a way to ensure the information that is passed to process is correct. Then we have a top right corner section which has fields like invoice number and invoice date. We might need to have a validation logic that ensures invoice has a number as an identifier and invoice has a date that is valid. The next section is line items. This is a composite part which each line within the list also consists of different elements. In the invoice you may say an invoice must have at least a valid line item. But what is a valid line item? A line item is valid when at least product, price, and quantity of the line are specified. These also look like more as a validation logic for each line. The next part in this section is discount. How much discount is this customer entitled to for this specific product at this price with that quantity? This is an operational decision logic that depends on the client, their customers, and some other parameters that might change time to time, like the stock level of that particular item. The other interesting part is the tax column. Depends on client's customers and the item, this column might have different values and figures. For example, if the client is an Australian shop that uses this form and their customers are overseas from Canada, no GST is applicable. But if the shop is based in Canada, with the local customers, then GST and PST might be applicable based on the shop turnover. These are more like business rules and regulations that a business must comply with, and they will be revised and changed by local government, and they will be different based on where the shop is located. The last part in this section is total column of each line item and subtotal of the section, which there are more some calculation logic for the payable amounts. Freight section. You may or you may not charge a customer for delivery. For example, some sales policy may say, if invoice belongs to a loyal customer and the payable amount is more than some value, then the freight might be waived. So as you can see, this is more like an operational decision logic of running the business. Invoice discount, as you can guess, is an operational decision logic again. Customer may or may not be entitled for a specific type of discount, like a seasonal discount, loyalty discount, all based on the sales policies of the company or the shop. And the last section on the invoice is total amount, which is sum of all payable amounts on the invoice, which can be a calculation aggregation logic of the entire invoice. There is one more logic in this invoice application, which is not really related to the information that are put in the form, but it is related to the sequence of processing of the sections in this form. This sequence is more like a flow logic, a sequence of processing of each individual logic on the form. Depends on your application, these logics might be static or might need to be updated based on different situations, like dynamic pricing and discount policies of your clients in different industries, or like different geographical location of the shop, which changes the rules and regulations for taxation. To summarize, I gave you an introduction about the following types of logic: validation, decision, calculation, and flow. In the next video, I will use this invoice application and we will start defining, modeling, and executing these logics using flexrule.